Hey everyone, it's Carissa. Welcome to Satur-YAY, where we're celebrating the weekend by getting our craft on. Today I am making a project featuring the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens. I love this product and I wanted to show you a few things about it, a few techniques you could do, and then show you a project with it. Now you can see these Spectrum Noir sparkle pens come in tons of colors, and these are not all of the colors that they come in. These just happen to be the colors that I have. And these three colors here are three of my favorites. These are the rose quartz, the jade green, and the solar red, and I'm going to be using those in the project today. Now, in addition to all of the colors, they also come in a clear overlay, which you see on the far left there. And I've grabbed a couple of the Wink of Stellas to kind of compare these. Now, this is the pink, the dark pink, and the clear in the Wink of Stella. And then I have the rose quartz, the solar red, and the clear overlay in the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. Now, when you get these pens, they're going to come just like this. You want to shake them really well before you start to use them. And each and every time that you use them, you want to shake them really well to get that glitter mixed in. You're going to remove that top there by screwing it off, and then remove that green stopper piece. That keeps it from leaking during shipping. And then you're going to screw that right back on until it's all the way flush with the barrel of the pen. Now, to get the ink flowing in this pen, you're just going to squeeze the barrel of that pen, and you're probably going to end up with a big blob of this ink coming out, or this sparkle wonderful goodness. I don't know what it is. You're probably going to end up with that. So I always recommend having a piece of scratch paper there to kind of absorb that extra, and then you'll just scribble it off until you have a normal flow. Now, on the left here, you're going to see the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, and on the right, you're going to see the Wink of Stella. These are their glitter markers. And I wanted to show you, first of all, with the Spectrum Noirs, the blend that you can achieve with these. Now, I'm doing this on regular Neenah Solar White cardstock at this point. I'm also going to be doing it on some Tim Holtz watercolor paper in just a bit, and you're going to see that the blend I get is much easier. But you can see that I got a really nice blend from that solar red to that rose quartz. Now, on the other hand, the Wink of Stellas, they are a more permanent type ink inside of their pen. They don't tend to blend very well with each other. You end up with a harsh line between those two colors. Now, in addition to blending out with another color, you can also blend out the spectrums with the clear overlay. So I'm just doing that here. And you're going to end up with both of these with this wonderful shiny goodness in the end. It is, I mean, they're both very, very sparkly. You get a really nice color payout and a really nice sparkle payout. But you can see here the Wink of Stella, once I get that ink down on the paper and I try to blend it out with the Wink of Stella clear, it does not blend at all. It's kind of budge proof. Now, that can be really good for you because you may want something that's not going to react with water. In that case, I would recommend using the Wink of Stellas. But if you want to achieve a more watercolored look, or if you want to achieve a more blended look, these Spectrum Noir sparkle pens are perfect for that. Now, I am showing you the same techniques. This is on Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock instead. Now, you can get a little bit better blend on that, even with the Wink of Stellas. But overall, the Spectrum Noirs blend much easier than the Wink of Stellas do. Now, I'm kind of going to show you these side by side. Do you see that I got the Winks to blend on the watercolor cardstock, but not really on the regular Neenah Solar White cardstock? And I'm shining my cell phone light on these so you can see the really wonderful sparkle that you get on both of these. Now, incidentally, at the bottom of this watercolor cardstock that I'm holding here, you can actually see where this color did not blend out nearly as well as it did on the Spectrum Noirs. But you can really see here that both of these are really very sparkly. Now, the other thing that I will note about the Spectrum Noirs as compared to the Winks, the Spectrum has a much more cool toned glitter. It looks more like a silvery white, whereas the Wink of Stella has that really warm gold tone to it. So if you're looking something for a little more true white that won't quite alter the color quite as much when you overlay it, then I would recommend going with the Spectrum Noir clear overlay. So now that we've run through a little bit of a comparison, I am going to start my card project, and I'm going to be using some Lawn Fawn products for this project. I'm going to be using the Flamingo Together stamp set as well as the coordinating dies, and those flamingos there are from that stamp set. I've stamped them in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink onto some watercolor cardstock from Tim Holtz, and I'm also stamping this Love Ya sentiment from the Big Scripty Words stamp set. That is onto some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and that's also stamped in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Now, I stamped a few of those little hearts in some Hero Arts Pale Tomato ink. Those are from the Flamingo Together stamp set. And then I'm going to start positioning my dies. Now, I'm going to cut those flamingos out with that wonky stitch circle die. This is one of my favorites lately. And I'll use the coordinating dies from the Big Scripty Words to cut out that love ya. And I love how perfectly these words cut out with the coordinating dies. Now, I've also positioned that little heart die over my hearts there at the bottom. Look how perfect these cut out. I mean, they're amazing. And I love that you can actually use these dies on their own or with the coordinating stamp set. And then I'll run my dies back through the machine again. I am cutting that love ya out of some gold glitter cardstock. And then I'm just continuing to cut out my hearts. Now, I'm going to start watercoloring, or sparkle watercoloring, I guess it would be, my flamingos here. I'm using that rose quartz color as well as the solar red. And what I've done is I've colored my entire flamingo with the rose quartz. And now I'm going in with the solar red to add just a little bit of shading, some darker spots. I'm going to add it to the parts where I want some shading, and then I'm going to go back in with the rose quartz and blend it out so that I get a nice smooth blend between those two kind of pink colors. Now, once I get to the beaks, I'm going to actually use a distress marker because I don't have like a black or a gray sparkle pen from Spectrum Noir. So I'm just adding a little bit of the black soot marker to the beak, and then I'm blending it out with the clear overlay pen from Spectrum Noir. Because the distress inks react with water, they're also going to react with the sparkle pens. So you can create a watercolor look with those as well by just adding a little bit of color to your image and then blending it out with the clear overlay Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. Now, I thought it would be fun to kind of create a sky feeling around these flamingos. So I'm using that jade to kind of just color some color right around the edge of those flamingos. And then I'm using the clear overlay to blend that out and to create a really soft background around these flamingos. Now, once I had them colored, I kind of had my lines were a little bit dulled from the sparkle overlay that got on the black lines. So what I did was I just took a Copic multi-liner and outlined my images once again. Now, my love ya is the main sentiment on this card, but I wanted to create kind of a supporting sentiment as well. So I stamped the We Flamingo Together onto some vellum, and now I'm just trimming this out. But what I'm doing is I'm trimming just below the we all the way up to where the F comes down, and then I'm lifting my blade of my trimmer and then skipping over that kind of downward turn in the F. And then I put my blade back down, cut under the flamingo right up to the G, lifted my blade again and cut the rest of that. And then I just used my scissors to trim out the curves of that. And once I got that all cut out, then I just used a little Zig 2-way glue pen to attach that love ya sentiment right on top of that We Flamingo Together sentiment on the vellum. And then I'm adding a little bit more 2-way glue pen, and I'm going to use that gold glitter piece that I cut out earlier to kind of create a shadow behind that stamped piece there. It's just going to add a little bit of sparkle to the front of my card. Now, I thought the card front needed a little bit of texture, and when I think about flamingos, I really think of like an Art Deco style. I don't know why, but that's kind of where my mind goes. And so I thought these triangles from W+9 would be a perfect background. So I'm stamping them in some Mint Julep Hero Arts ink onto a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock. And this piece of Neenah Solar White is cut to 3 5/8 by 5.5. So I just trimmed 5/8 off of the normal A2 size card. So once I stamped them in the Mint Julep ink, I wanted to kind of create a shadowed effect. So I'm stamping over those images once again with some Unicorn White pigment ink. And you can see it just kind of creates a little bit of a shadow. I'm not sure how well you can see it. But the edges of the upper left side and down that left side of those triangles have the full strength ink. And then where the white is kind of shifted over, it creates a really fun shadow effect. So now I'm just attaching all of these things onto this card front that I've created. I used a little foam adhesive to attach my flamingos on there. I also attached my sentiment with some foam adhesive. I did put a double layer of foam adhesive on the left side of that sentiment where it hangs off of that circle piece that I created on there. And now I'm just using a little black and white shape and tape from We Are Memory Keepers. I'm using it as some pattern paper. So I put it on a piece of Neenah Solar White to kind of reinforce it. And then I trimmed it down and added it onto my card front. Now my card front is made from some Basil Candy Hearts cardstock, I believe. I'm not sure. I'll link it in the description below. And then I'm adding a little strip of gold glitter cardstock right along that edge as well. And that card front that I have stamped on, I added that on with some foam adhesive. And I'm finishing this card off with a few sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. I just attached those using some multi-medium in the matte finish from Ranger. And here is my completed card project. I'm once again shining my cell phone light on that so you can hopefully catch the wonderful sparkle that is all over this card. I love using these Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, and I think that you will too, that you can get some really great watercolor looks with these. Now remember, if you want something a little bit more permanent, you may want to go with the Wink of Stellas. Those are a little bit more permanent. And both of the pens have a colored ink with that wonderful glittery, sparkly goodness inside of them. As always, I will have links to all the products used in this project in the description at YouTube, as well as over at the Classroom blog where you can see more still shots and find more information. All of these products are available for purchase at ellenhudson.com. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this project. Happy Satur-YAY, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.